Hello everyone, I'm Wendell Jones and welcome to this edition of the program. The platform on this program, we examine national issues. All over the country, people are talking about parental control and the extent to which parents ought to be involved in the lives of their children. Because we are seeing more and more in our society juvenile delinquency. But there are some people who believe that we have parental delinquency in the society. And so on our program today, we are going to talk about children. We're going to talk about children with a children's ministry specialist, Pastor Ricardo Miller, who has done some work with Bishop T.D. Jakes in the United States of America and other places in the United States. He is our guest on the program today. It is a delight to have him here. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Yes, you know Mr. Godfrey Enius?
I just met him briefly, and looking forward to having this discussion with both of you gentlemen.
You've been out of the country for a little while.
13 years to be exact.
Okay.
13 years. I moved to Dallas, Texas at the time I got married. My wife is from Texas, and so, but I'm a proud Bahamian, and I never let it go, and wear my Bahamian pin proud. My fly the flag real high, and I'm excited about being here, and that's one of the reasons why I decided not to let go of what I started a number of years ago.
Where did you attend school in the States?
Well, I went to Christian Life College here, but my the vibe about me is that I had a challenging development process. I went to E.P. Roberts School where I was in special ed for the most part. Went to C.H. Reeve where I was a problem kid. Went to R.M. Bailey and left with an attendance certificate. And I remember just standing up on the street corner on Sugar Kid Bowl on Soldier Road and just being sort of a thug, being a problematic young man. And really was just heading nowhere fast. And I remember one day somebody said to me, this guy, he was about 25 years older than me. And I remember him, he was sort of walking with a cane, and he was been chopped up a couple of times, been to jail about 20 times. And you could just see life had just really been hard on him. And he said to me, "Oh man, you joking, because about 20 years ago, I was exactly where you is." And at that moment, something triggered that I realized, boy, this ain't the road for me. Something there said, something has to change. To make a long story short, I found myself at Pentecostal Church of Faith in God with Bishop Dean Wells, the late Bishop Dean Wells in Montel Heights. And he took me off the street, gave me a construction job. And his daughter, Mary Wells, told me, "You need to go back to school, get some education. God's going to use you." And so I found myself going to academia, Miss Wisdom.
Okay.
I went there for reading, to go back and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I remember being in a little room with small kids learning, practicing to read, and kids laughing, saying, "Ha, that man can't read," because I was 18. And they were probably third graders, fourth graders, even though they were there for reading, tutoring as well. Their issue was this man can't read or was having problem reading. So the process continued, and I fell in love with books and fell in love with the idea of maximizing one's potential.
You, Mr. Miller,
Yep.
you can be described as one who fell through the cracks of the system. Because you came up with a diploma of attendance.
Yes, that's it, 12 years.
But you went back and improved yourself.
Got a GED.
Why did you fall through the cracks?
For a number of reasons. One, I was trying to fit in for the most part. I grew up for a long time not knowing who I was. Insecure, shy, timid. Basically was the kid who was being called big head, big nose, big foot. I was short. I was just not sure of who I was. Growing up through Washington Street, going to E.P. Roberts. At the time, my brother lived in Oakland. Suddenly, me was in through Washington Street, so it was a hustle. It was you gotta survive. And I had one sister who was living home at the time, and so it was all about, hey, how are you gonna hold your ground? And to hold your ground mean you had to have an attitude. You had to show yourself rough. And so that wasn't working for me in E.P. Roberts. It wasn't working for me in C.H. Reeve until the latter part. I figured out, okay, I need to have a short temper and just really just go at it. And so I found myself in a lot of fights and found myself basically involved in that kind of activity. But at the end of the day, I didn't engage myself in nothing positive that would bring about the level of success that I've achieved to this day early on. The opportunities were there though. I remember, just to give an example, I was in the Interact Club at R.M. Bailey because they said, you have to join a program. If you don't, you're going to be expelled. So we want you to join this program and make a commitment to be there, you and a number of other boys. We joined the program, and they had an election about 2 weeks later saying they're going to have officers for the program. And there's about 15 of us thugs from Soldier Road joined this Interact Club, the Junior Rotary Club program. And we were sitting down there, and somebody said, oh, they're going to have election. And somebody says, my name on the street was Abo. Abo, man, you need to run for president. And I said, man, I can't be no president. I ain't got no head for president. They said, man, listen, the president don't need to know nothing. The vice president need to know everything. Yeah. so you could be the face of it.
Yes.
And I remember running, and I won. And we went to a luncheon with the Rotary Club. And I remember somebody saying to me, you're one of the first males to be a president of the Interact Club at the time. And this was 91. And I said, okay. They said, well, if you complete well and you do your grades well, we'll give you a 2-year scholarship to the College of Bahamas. That was the person told me at the luncheon. 3 weeks later, I quit.
Right.
Hey, I don't want to be in this program.
You didn't want to be in the College of the Bahamas neither.
I didn't even have a thought about the College of Bahamas. That was not even a consideration. When he said that to me, it went through one ear and left to the other. That's where I was as a senior. Look at that. That to me, that's a concern.
But Mr. Miller,
yeah.
It wasn't an indictment on the system or an indictment on your circumstances. That you could go to school for 12 years
yes.
and come out not knowing how to read.
Yes, the system failed me, but it was an inclusive of everything. Nothing worked. Nothing worked in my favor. And there are a lot of young people, nothing's working for them. There's not a support system and in any level for them. And there is a true statement, I believe. I really believe this. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I believe that when a child or a young person is really hungry and wants something more, someone will come along and assist them. However, they got to be hungry and they got to want something more before you almost see that Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid sort of person shows up to help them. Well, most people aren't that hungry. And so there aren't enough programs or supportive system challenging people, young people, to birth that which is within them, purpose.
You can very well say, there, but for the grace of God go I. Eh?
Right. I sure can.
You were heading, say, for jail.
Yes, straight up. And I was told that by a lot of people.
Yeah, you were heading for death row.
A lot of guys up there right now still know me.
Yeah. You were hanging out,
right.
as you say, with thugs.
Right.
And Godfrey asked you if the system failed you.
Right.
Society failed you.
Right. Yeah.
Your parents failed you.
The whole system. See,
you were bringing up yourself.
Yeah, I can say, well, we're bringing up myself, but the reason why I say it like this, right? Opportunities were presented, but I didn't take advantage of the opportunities. I remember when I was taken to church in Robinson Road area, and they had the Boys Brigade. And they was like, hey, man, you need to join the Boys Brigade. And I know guys to this day who went straight through the Boys Brigade, know how to perform different instruments, and went off to college. I remember going into the Boys Brigade, lasted for maybe about a month and a half. And I said, man, I don't have the time for this. And once again, I personally believe nobody from the Boys Brigade came through looking for me. E.P. Roberts, when I was in E.P. Roberts, I ducked school half of the time. I went downtown selling beads around the dock, up at Burger King in the back, selling beads. Then my mother had a number of kids where she had to work and trying to hold it down. And I remember her trying, but then at the same time, as a young mom, I could see the frustration on her. She trying to figure out what to do. So I went to Acklands trying to live with my grandmother for a while. And I think even then, stress came to her. I was like, listen, I can't take this, boy. You're going to need to go back to Nassau. And so now I'm back at Nassau. I'm at C.H. Reeves, and I'm in the classroom, basically. I'm just there again, and the process is just, okay, what are you going to do? And I'm not into nothing. I'm just into hanging out. And time passed, and every entity at the time. Now, there were a number of people along the way that kept saying there was something more in you.
But tell me, Mr. Miller,
Yep.
you were really a product of your environment.
Yep.
So it was your environment that created
Yes, that's
the
correct.
Miller of that era.
Yes.
Do you think that's part of the problem we have? It's an environmental problem.
Yes. We have an unsupportive system for young people to grow in. So you grow like a wild tree.
That's the point I was making to you earlier.
Yeah,
you
I can't
didn't
go
have
back
any structure.
Right.
You lacked structure.
Uh-huh.
And so you were bringing up yourself.
Yeah. In every facet.
You were growing wild.
Yeah. Which a lot of young people are doing.
Yes. No one was there to cultivate
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Mr. Enius is an agriculturalist.
Yeah.
And he knows how to cultivate plants, and,
Right.
trees.
Yes.
You would never, your roots were
Not nurtured.
not nurtured properly. Yes?
Yeah. Right.
And so you grew wild until a certain time.
Yeah.
Until when you caught yourself.
Yeah.
And when you caught yourself,
The Bible says he came to himself.
you came to yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
And you found yourself.
Found yourself. Yeah.
And so when you found yourself, what you decided to
After
do?
that moment, nothing mattered in regards to what popular opinion was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I had a car. I had a nice little Nissan Sentra. And then at the time, I'm 18 and a half, 19, trying to go to Christian Life College with Dr. J. Sims School. And I'm thinking, I got to figure out how to do this. My mother didn't have the money to financially assist me in that. So, and I'm working construction, making, I think $175 a week. I'm doing tutoring classes on Saturdays. I'm doing evening classes at night. Okay, what am I going to do? I got a girlfriend. I got a nice little car. And I realized I'm going to have to sell the car. Well, when I said I was going to sell the car, the girl said, man, if you sell the car, I ain't checking no fellow ride no bike. And so I sold the car. Behold, she's gone. But that level of dedication and commitment to, I have to move ahead, and I don't want to be where I am now. I want to go further. I want to make a different kind of life for myself. Later on, I remember riding that bike on Prince Charles Road coming from school one night, and it was raining. And I stopped to YK, I think it was, and got a plastic bag and put over my clothes and cover my head and my backpack, and I'm riding. It was raining. And I remember some fellas then passed by and said, man, that's what God doing for you now? Right? And I can remember the tears coming down to off of my face, and I'm just riding. But I had to encourage myself, because I said, I don't care what they said, I don't care what she said, I don't care what popular opinion was about me, I'm going somewhere. And over time, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get there.
What was instrumental in changing your awareness?
Education. Something I never got an understanding or it's like revelation. You know, when they say, somebody say, you get it? You see, there's a difference between knowing how to spell cat and knowing how to spell cat.
So
When you get it.
So you had 12 years of schooling and no education.
And didn't get it.
I got to take a break here. Let's take this break. We are speaking with Ricardo Miller today. A beautiful story.
Yeah.
The story is resonating, I can tell you. We take this break. We'll come right back.